Right, hello everyone. This week our project is going to be a sculpture. Now there are lots of different ways of making sculpture, but sculpture is basically an object that's got three dimensions. So it's not flat like a drawing or a painting. It's got three dimensions, so it's in space. And they can be made in lots of different ways. So for example, you can carve into a material like marble or wood. You can hack away at it. It's a subtractive process. It takes stuff away from it, and then the object that you are finishing with is revealed. There's also modelling, which is an additive process. So you start off with something like clay, and you add more and more to it until you end up with your object. There's also construction and assemblage, which is pretty cool. So assemblage is where you put things together that might not normally stick together. So you could do it out of junk modelling, for example, is assemblage, and construction is using a material to put together to make a shape in 3D. Today, I'm going to use card, and the card I've got, I'm quite lucky because I have many sorts of different coloured cards, which is wonderful, and I do love these because it was a pack of cards I got before school shut down. But if you haven't got this, it's not the end of the world. I've also made some sculptures out of packaging. So this isn't cardboard, as in corrugated cardboard, but that's always a good one if you want to have a go. This is sort of thin. I think this was an Amazon parcel, so it's sort of like a thin cardboard, which is really, really cool. So if we're making a construction out of card, you have to think about what you can do with card, because card has certain properties. Card is obviously flat in one direction. It's sort of two-dimensional, but it's got a very thin third dimension. It's very strong in one direction, so if I try to bend this way, it doesn't bend, whereas this way it's very, very flexible. And that's something we can use. You can fold card, and you can turn it into angles and shapes. You can also curve card and make it bend by rubbing against an object, so you end up with a nice beautiful shape such as this. The idea is to use these properties to make some sort of a sculpture, and I'm going to go through some of the things that I've been experimenting with so that you can use some of these ideas if you want to make your own. Okay, so for this I need a round pencil. It has to be round, or pen, because I want to look at curling. I've got scissors, just in case I want them. I've got a pencil as well, in case I need to make sure my scissors line go up to a certain point. I've got some glue, and of course I've got lots of different sorts of card here, but these are just sort of demonstration pieces, so I'm just going to use these strips to show you what I'm talking about. Right, the first thing you do is, if you're curling is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Simple curls can look gorgeous, and they obviously have structure and strength this way, which is nice, not so much this way because they squash. So that makes a 3D sculpture. That could be a sculpture. And of course, it's not just that way. You can use it in all sorts of different ways. Your curves, don't necessarily have to go in straight lines. They can go all over the place. It's a very versatile and beautiful way of curling, or making something that's 2D into 3D. But this one, obviously, I've used it two ways. Yeah, it's quite easy to do. This one here's another spiral there. So to make a curve or a shape such as that, all you need to do is take a round object, it could be the edge of a table as well, and just push it against the side of your card like that, and it starts to curl it. You can roll it around it as well, like so, and make quite tight curls that way. You can twist them in different ways as well, but that helps. Having some sort of an object to curl it around helps. And they really make beautiful flowing shapes. I mean, these all together sort of remind me a little bit of a fire or something. That's probably more to do with the colour. Could be a waterfall, could be all sorts of things. So, curves. Love curves, love making curls and swirls. they're fantastic. The second way that you could really do this is by folding. And of course, folding, I mean, that's a simple zigzag, except I've changed the size of each zigzag. Folding is fantastic. It's really, really good fun. Pretty obvious what it sounds like, but there are certain things that you can do to make it a bit more interesting. These look fantastic, especially I've got the light just right at the moment, so you can really see the different planes and different shapes and shadows in them. This was done by back folding. This is just simply folding along triangles, and then it makes it stick up. I mean, the whole point is the 3D means it stays up in space. Here we have a spiral, but made in folds. And this is actually made in a similar way to these ones here. So with folds are pretty easy to start. Obviously, whatever you do, if you've got a piece of flat card and you put a fold in it, it then will stand up. So therefore it has become a sculpture. One nice way of doing it as well, of course, we did a bit of this last week when we did our, or the week before, sorry, when we did our Kennedy cloth patterns. You fold it that way, so you get it to stand up higher, and you can cut into it. You do sort of things like that. To make this sort of a fold, this is actually a sort of an origami technique. It's called a back fold. So what you do is you fold something in half, as I've done there, and then when you come to actually fold it, you fold it like so, and then you back fold it, so you go across the other way. Now when you make a fold on a piece of card, it actually creates a weakness, so the card will naturally fall along or collapse over those lines. Yeah, so basically fold your card in half, make the fold which you want the change of direction to happen in, put it back out, and then you have to just pop it back the other way. And this fold here has to go the opposite way as well. And then you have a back fold. Again, it can be used to make things go upright, all sorts of things like that. It's probably better. I'm going to try it in a different colour actually, because I think that white's bleached out a bit. See it a bit better here. So, wherever you want your fold, make a fold. And when you are doing folds, be determined about it. Don't just sort of go, yeah, there we go, done. You have to make a proper line in the paper, and you have to push it down so that it's all sorted. So I folded it one way, I folded it back the other way, created the weakness. This fold here is going to go the other way as well, but I'll do that later. Push the point of the fold, and you end up with, excuse me, that's it. Push the point of the fold, and you end up with a kink of some sort. And you can go in two different directions if you want to do that. Like so. There we go. Some very interesting shapes there that you could make. The other thing you can do is cutting. So we've done sort of these things with three-dimensional cards. So I've done this, made up some of my cards in school. We use these quite a lot. It's quite simple really, but it's just literally cutting out shapes in a fold, and then making them into different forms. So to do this, nice and simple, fold something, make a fold in it. It doesn't have to be in the middle either. You could always do it at one end, like I did on this one. Away. So all you do is cut into it, and then you fold one way, and obviously you've got the fold in the centre that you had before, so you're folding there, fold it back the other way over the same line, and then when you pull it open, it will pop through to the other side, like so. If you fold it in different places, your folds will make different shapes. so it will kink at different areas. You've got to be careful where you cut it as well. Try not to have too many flaps flapping around. But there we go. So different shapes there, and of course it will fold up, sit up this way. You could have it this way, that way, this way, vertical, horizontal, your choice. Of course, you get to a point where you can start experimenting and playing with these things. So I've got folds and curves in this one. Reminds me something of an egg slicer for some reason, but I quite like it. I quite like the way it's shaped. Also, you can start playing with all sorts of things. This is made of an old cereal packet, and this is just cutting stuff out and folding it up. Another one here, which I made. I had a lot of fun making these actually. This one is particularly beautiful. Reminds me of the Sydney Opera House. It's similar in its sort of structure, and also of a shell, of a sort of a natural sort of formation. But it's quite beautiful, and it stands up on its own. Other ones here, makes a great big spiral, can sit up on its own. There's all sorts of different ways of looking at this, but the whole point of this exercise is for you to find some card and have a go at making a 3D sculpture of some form, some sort of shape, some sort of dimension. I've done these, and what I really like is when you put them on a backdrop. So if I put it on a black backdrop, it really shows up the form that you have, the three-dimensional form. But you don't necessarily have to do that. You could choose any two colours. You could use the packaging that you found and use the colours that's on that. So don't be too hung up on it. But yeah, just have a play, see what you can come up with, and send me your results so I can have a see of what you've been up to.